Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, I just want to know who milks the dragons. Dragon's Milk Raspberry Hibiscus is an 11% bourbon barrel-aged stout from New Holland Brewing Company in Holland, Michigan. Here we are with another Dragon's Milk Reserve. This time it's Raspberry Hibiscus. Now I know what hibiscus is supposed to taste like, but I don't know if it's one of those things I don't know if I've actually ever had it before. Now from the sounds of it, the flavors should complement each other really well, but I guess that's why I'm here making these videos, right? Things that sound like they should go together don't always work. I also know one hibiscus fan that should be checking this one out. That's Jenny from Drinks with Jenny. She's not a big stout fan, but she loves hibiscus. So let's take a look at the label and then we'll get this into a glass. Fun fact, New Holland states that dragon's milk is a 17th century term used to describe the strong beer usually reserved for royalty, and it was aged in oak for over 120 days, which extracts flavors from the wood, which also contributes to its complex character. So I have my dragon's milk glass. It has a dragon on it and it says dragon's milk. And let's take a look at the label. This is the same as all the newly redesigned dragon's milk labels. It has this really cool dragon scale. It has the dragon and established in 1997. It says 11% ABV. And it's Dragon's Milk Reserve Raspberry Hibiscus Bourbon Barrel Aged Stout with natural flavors. And then across the top on the neck of the bottle, it says brewed and bottled by New Holland Brewing, LLC in Holland, Michigan. Has all the deposit information. And then on the back, they've gotten away from saying like the beer pairings. This one just says alcohol 11% by volume, reserve, roasted, malty, smooth. Proudly brewed in Holland, Michigan. And then their website, newhollandbrew.com. And this was bottled on March 19th, 2019 at 8:54 in the AM. So let's get the handy dandy bottle opener. We'll give this one a crack. On the cap, it has the dragon, and on the side of the cap, it says "Share a Legend," which I believe is new on all the Dragon's Milk, all the new Dragon's Milk labels and whatnot. So let's get a nose on this out of the bottle. I'm getting a lot of sweet raspberry scents, like almost a raspberry pie kind of scent, directly out of the neck of the bottle. Let's get this into a glass. It's coming out dark as you would expect, but a little bit of a red hue on the actual pour itself, and not getting much of a head. It's actually, there's no head at all on this. As you can see from the top, when I was pouring it, it just kind of fizzled out. There is no head whatsoever. Let's hold this up to the light, and it is dark, very opaque. It might have a bit of a red hue to it, but it's just dark. You can't see anything through this glass. Let's get a bit of nose out of the glass here. Yeah, the aroma is just this straight raspberry. I'm not getting much of anything else. This is a bourbon barrel aged beer, and it just smells like straight, like a little one of those plastic containers you get from the grocery store of fresh, ripe raspberries. That's it, straight up raspberry. So let's dive in and see if this has a little bit more to offer than just raspberry. So the mouthfeel is a little bit on the thicker side. It's a little bit on the syrupy side. It just rolls over the tongue. It's got a lot of raspberry flavor, a lot of raspberry just taste throughout the entire thing. Yeah, it's just, I'm getting a lot of straight up raspberry. It's raspberry throughout. You can tell that the regular base Dragon's Milk is really kind of it's fighting to kind of break through. There is a little bit of a roasted malty kind of characteristic that lives inside of that kind of raspberry organism that is in this glass, but I'm not getting much out of it. Now, hibiscus is supposed to be a little bit more, it's sweet but tart, and I'm not getting any of that out of this. It's just like raspberry through and through. Like I said, that maltiness, that dark roasty maltiness, the dark roasty kind of chocolatey flavors are kind of trying to break through, but they're not really succeeding. And then on the finish, there's this kind of an alcohol astringency that kind of, it's like When you drink a really strong alcohol, when it's just like a vodka or a bourbon or something like that, that really strong alcohol bite is in there and it's on the tail a tiny bit. I am getting a little bit of the bourbon characteristics as I kind of let it sit in my mouth, and you can feel it kind of rising out, and you get that kind of that oaky, bourbony kind of smell that wafts out of your nose a little bit when you take a drink, but this is really strong raspberry through and through, and it makes the beer, the mouthfeel of the beer, almost a little bit too syrupy, a little bit too almost cough medicine-like. Yeah, the raspberry is just adding, I guess I'm getting a little bit of a tart or a little bit of a kind of sourness on the tail end, and maybe I can contribute that to the hibiscus, but the overpowering flavor, overpowering word of the day on this review is going to be raspberry, because raspberry is what's shining through on all the levels, from this opening taste, through the swallow, through the finish, raspberry throughout. It's a good raspberry taste, but it tastes really kind of like raspberry syrup. It's like when they make a candy and it's a raspberry candy, what you get. I'm getting a little bit of a tartness, like I said, and maybe that's the hibiscus on the finish, but unfortunately, everything throughout, from the beginning to the middle to the finish, is all raspberry. I would have liked to have seen the raspberry toned down a little bit. Maybe the actual dragon's milk, the natural dragon's milk flavor kind of come through a little bit more. Maybe that bourbon comes through a little bit more instead of just on the finish with that kind of alcohol astringency, for it to be kind of intertwined throughout the entire experience. But at this point, the only thing that I'm picking up is raspberry, and I'm really curious. I always have my thermometer here. If I'm looking at the temperature of this beer, it is, I want to say that they suggest you drink it between 50 and 55. This is at 55 degrees, 55.2 currently, and it might drop a little bit. But 55.2, this is prime temperature for this to be drank, and this experience is unfortunately almost exclusively raspberry. I think as it's warming a tiny bit, I'm getting a tiny bit of the hibiscus on the tail end, and the alcohol astringency is fading a little bit, but it just doesn't seem like raspberry and hibiscus are working out so well in a stout. All right, friends, that has been Raspberry Hibiscus Dragon's Milk Reserve. Now, I know Triple Mash Dragon's Milk is right around the corner, so what's been your favorite Dragon's Milk Reserve flavor, and what is your least favorite? I know for me, I've really liked Mocha Mint, but what's your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, if you like Michigan beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about Michigan beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all free, and you never know if I'm going to be talking about your next favorite beer if you don't subscribe. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by, and remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.